In this video, we will show you how to replace your front outside mirror on this Toyota Sienna. This will be mounted directly to your door. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. We're going to have to remove the door panel to gain access for the removal process. To remove the door panel, we'll be starting in the upper corner. For this, we're going to remove this trim panel. Use a plastic trim tool, make our way in between this area, and gently separate it. A quick inspection will set this aside. Now let's make our way down towards where the window and door lock switches are. Continuing with our plastic trim tool, we're going to pop this trim panel up and out of place. Keep in mind there are wiring harnesses along the back side. Now looking along the back here, we'll disconnect this by squeezing in on the locking tab right where my index finger is. You should be able to pull that out of place. A quick inspection of that harness. If you see any funny colors, that's corrosion and it would need to be dealt with. This one looks fine. Now behind this area, we'll be looking for this Phillips head screw. Go ahead and remove it. We'll make our way up from there. Behind the inside door handle, you're going to find that you have a protective cover. Use a small pick to pull this out of place. And now behind this area, we have another Phillips head screw. Now we're going to follow the door panel out towards where the door latch assembly would be. You're going to find you have another Phillips head screw. Let's remove this. Back to using our plastic trim tool, we're going to separate the door panel from the door. Along the center lower aspect of the door panel, you're going to find a notched out area that you can use that trim tool. Gently make your way in between and start prying that door panel away. With that pulled away from the door, we're going to have to start lifting up on the door panel and pulling it away, but you do want to be careful. There are some cables along the backside. When you go to remove the cables, pay attention to their orientation. You can tell that one area is white along here, the top, and then the cable just below it is the green cable. When we go to reinstall these, we want to make sure we have them in the same orientation. The white cable along the top. To remove these, just take hold of it and pop it right out of place. We're going to pivot it, and then you're going to find that you have the cable has a small ball at the end. You just want to lift it up and out of that groove. A quick inspection of the cable to ensure that it's not damaged in any way. We'll do the same exact thing to the other one. Now we'll have to make our way down along the bottom here. We do have one more wiring harness. Small locking tab right in the center area there. We'll pop it out of place. Go ahead and remove that door panel. Now we can gain access to our mirror wiring harness. It leads right down behind our vapor barrier. We'll carefully just tug down on that vapor barrier. We don't want to cause any damage. Take hold of that wire connector, you know what to do. Squeeze on that center locking tab, a quick inspection of both ends. Now we can continue on to our mounting hardware that holds the mirror in place. You can see that there's a couple mounting bolts here and a few mounting nuts. We're only going to be dealing with the mounting nuts. Leave the bolts in place. Start down along the bottom here. Now as we go to remove this last mounting nut, you want to make sure you're holding onto the mirror assembly so it doesn't fall off of the vehicle. Go ahead and give the mirror a quick wiggle and pull it away from the vehicle. We'll make sure we draw that wiring harness through as well. There it is, friend. Okay, friend, let's prepare for installation of our brand new mirror. We'll carefully put this in place along the outside of the door, bringing it through towards the inside of the door. We'll start with that wiring harness, slide it right through that rectangular hole. We'll bring this over, align those mounting studs with their corresponding holes. While holding that in the proper placement, we'll continue on with our 3 10mm headed mounting nuts. Go ahead and start them on. Now we'll snug them up. Now that they're snug, torque those to 71 inch-pounds. Make our way down here. We'll reconnect in the mirror wiring harness. Press it in, listen for a click, make sure it's secure. Reinstall the vapor barrier. Now it's time to reinstall the door panel. Before we do, there's several things that we want to pay attention to. Along the bottom, we have our wiring harness. We're going to want to make sure that we reconnect that. Towards the center here, we also have another wiring harness for that window switch. As you continue making your way up, you're going to have the area for your cables. And you also want to pay attention along the top of that door panel. You have this ridged area where I'm holding. That needs to come up nice and high, and it's going to make its way up and over this area of the door. With all that said, let's start at the bottom with the electrical connector. Let's start with this electrical connector down at the bottom here. There we are. We'll give that a little tug. Let's continue bringing this up. We'll be paying attention to our cables now. When we remove these, I had told you to pay attention to the orientation. As you remember, up along the top, you had the white, and then down below that, the next cable is the one with the green. We'll start with the green, which is the lowest one here. Slide the very end in, and then you're going to bring this around and lock it into position. Same thing for the top. Slide it in, swing it, lock it in. Now, as we start bringing this up, we're going to pay attention to our window wiring harness there. We want to reach through the door panel, take hold of that, and make sure you do have access to it. We'll just slide it right on through. Bringing the door panel up nice and high, as I mentioned, we're going to make sure we go over that lip. We'll start bringing this down. Once you can look along the side and you can see that you're properly aligned, we'll continue on driving this in. We have all of those push clips that will squeeze into the door. Take hold of the door panel, make sure it's properly secured. Let's continue on with the mounting hardware for the door panel. We'll be using our Phillips head with our rubber bumper here. Let's make sure that's snug. Now we'll make our way over towards where the grab handle is. We'll be reinstalling our Phillips head screw here. You'll be using the longer of the 2 Phillips head screws. Let's get this right into position. Make sure that's nice and tight. Now it's time for the window switch. When you go to put this in position, we'll be paying attention to all of our locking tabs, making their way around, aligning them with the door panel. Press it down, make sure that's properly secured. We'll be using the shorter Phillips head screw for inside the inside door handle here. Install your protective cover. Now we can get this last trim piece on here. You want to pay attention. Along the bottom, you will have a hook, and then a secondary hook right along here. Up along the top, you should find that you do have a push clip. If it's missing from here, it's probably in the mounting point. If that's the case, just go ahead and pry it out of there, insert it in the trim panel. Bring those hooks down and into place, and lock it in. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. At this point, the next thing you want to do is go ahead and make sure that you align it properly and test the functionality. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.